So a friend of mine sent me a Christmas present that was supposed to arrive today. It hasn't. But before I went to bed, I thought I'd open the door and check just to make sure they didn't put it on the stoop, because they've done that before. And the second I open the door, there's this flurry of sound and wings and a big, big dove. About, I want to say, bigger than that, actually. Big fat dove comes just flying in and lands on my carpet right in front of the door. After I take a moment to recover from my heart attack and make sure none of the neighbors are running down to see what poor girl shrieked, "What the F?" in surprise, I try to come up with a solution. The dove is not freaking out. It's just sitting there, happy as can be, and me moving around doesn't seem to bother it. So I prop the door open, and I grab a foldable chair that I've got near the desk that I like to kick my feet up on while I watch a movie. Fold it up, and my idea is to gently nudge the bird so that he'll fly straight out the door. It's where he's facing anyway. Just a little nudge. He'll go straight out the door to freedom. Everybody's happy. As soon as the chair touches the dove, it wigs out, flies off at an angle, hits the ceiling, hits the wall, falls into a corner of my apartment surrounded by junk. At this point, I do what any self-respecting man would do. I called my mommy. And I said, "Mommy, I don't know what to do." And she did, as mothers have done for generations, said, "Talk to your father." My dad's first advice is to go get my baseball bat and kill the thing. I say, "No, I'm not going to do that." He says, "Why not?" I said, "That'd be mean. First of all, I have no desire to just kill an innocent bird that wandered into my apartment by mistake. Second of all, that's going to be a heck of a mess to clean up. Third of all, I can just picture me chasing this thing around with a baseball bat, smashing all of my possessions. Like, there's just... In addition to it being cruel, it doesn't end well." And then he says, "Get a blanket and throw it over it." That's brilliant. So I put my dad on the speakerphone, I put the phone down, I go to get a blanket, and I throw it over it. And that's when I realize thing's trapped in a corner with like a lot of stuff. I can't just bend over and pick up the blanket. I really expected the bird to freak out the second the blanket touched it. It was fine. It just kind of, you could see the blanket move a little bit, but it was just hanging. Not a problem. So I start moving stuff out of the corner around it so I can get in there and pick up the blanket and carry him out the front door. Dove walks out from underneath the blanket. Still in the corner. Getting closer to my computer, by the way, which would be problematic. Just because I could see him, because when he flies, he ain't messing around, man. He just careens into stuff, and I don't want to break anything. I go and get another blanket. I put that blanket over him and try to get to him. He just walks out from underneath that one. Ain't no thing. But by this point, the dove and I, we have an understanding. He's mobile. He keeps walking. Basically, I keep the blanket behind him, and I can use it to steer him in front of it. It's like reverse bullfighting. He starts to go into the kitchen, I veer off, and I block him off from that. Right before he's about to go out the front door, he panics and takes off flying again. Hits the ceiling, hits the wall, crash lands on a table. Luckily, it's the table right by the front door. He can see it from where he is. So I take a final chance, and I use the blanket, and he manages to take off flying right through the front door, hits a ceiling, hits a wall, and falls down a couple steps. He's still out there. He seems perfectly happy and perfectly fine, but I gotta say, I think it's brain damaged. I mean, I think it was brain damaged before this entire event began, because it was bouncing off walls and ceilings, and it came in like a fury in the first place, which is probably why he looks happy. Have you ever noticed? Brain damaged. Ignorance is bliss. That was really, really quite the adventure. I think we're all just fortunate. Well, I say we all. It's a good thing that happened to me and not my sister. My sister has a pathological fear of birds. She would rather be locked in a cage with a hungry lion than have a bird in her apartment. The second that bird came in, she would have died. She would have just died, as opposed to shrieking like a woman like I did. I'm supposed to be asleep now. I don't know when my heart's gonna slow down. I'm awake now. I'm not even tired anymore. I've got stuff strewn all around my apartment. I got blankets and junk from that corner everywhere. And I can still see the dove. I take a look out the peephole. He's still hanging out on the step. He's alive, so mission accomplished. I'm not sure what startled him in the first place. It's like he was standing on the door, which is impossible to do, because the second that door opened, he freaked and came in. Just a little something I thought I'd share with you guys. Good times.